Hello there, Dragon Ball Infinity is here, and today we are gonna have a roleplay review over the log preparations, and I'm calling this review Preparations Part 1 because this log has taken me several days to get through, and I really feel that the rest of this log, while being very good, there's so much here, and if I were to talk about everything, kind of skip over the first part, I think is the real meat and potatoes of what the author was trying to do and trying to say with this log. And in it, this part particular that we're going to talk about in part 1, it's just Koshoro. I am going to do a video covering possibly parts 2 and 3, depending on how the log ends. I still haven't, at the moment of recording this, finished all of it. I'm pretty well through. I have a lot of notes on a lot of it. I haven't finished the whole one. But the part that I did finish, I absolutely want to talk about. Here we go. Roleplay review, preparations, part 1. Roll my intro. Isn't that great? Anyway, welcome back. And we're just going to get right into it. Part 1 of preparations has Koshoro in this camp, kind of separated from his Tiger Lilies camp, where he has been training, has been perfecting his secret technique. I kind of love that he doesn't tell us what this technique is. I know what it is, but on page he hasn't really revealed it or given it a name. You just kind of see the devastation that it's caused where he's been training for it. And the log in this part is before his big confrontation with Fusion, with the wolf. He is in preparation for that battle. And for a very long time, I was trying to remember when it was that Koshoro and Fusion met before, had a confrontation before. This is before like the Spina incident and everything like that. And then I realized it finally clicked in the back of my head, because it's been so damn long ago, that the whole reason Ko is here because the EDF has been monitoring all these murders that's been happening and sent Koshoro after him. So he finally met him in the last log, and now after basically caught Fusion used bombs to explode, to cause distraction away from him, he's put 2 and 2 together that the man he met and saved must be the man that he is now sent to stop. And the fun thing about this is that Shoro is preparing for that confrontation. He's preparing himself for that fight, and it wasn't until that EDF part clicked that it all made sense, that it all comes together and all comes to a head. And I would like to echo Eichenbahn in his last video that he did on his cover of Until Return, or Upon Return, where he said that like we're kind of at the end of the sanctuary. And while I do believe that is true, this log, and I'm going to assume the tiger and the wolf, that's the true end. That's the final fight in the arc. Upon Return is kind of like the prologue, the thing that happens after the post log, I guess. The thing that happens after, and the ring has been destroyed, and now what are the hobbits doing? That's Upon Return, but this is the final fight. This is where we are charging into Mordor, whispering for Spina. But yeah, this is all in preparation to that. And the reason that I think that this log deserves its own kind of, or this portion of the log deserves its own video, is because not only is Ko preparing himself physically, he's preparing himself mentally for it. And this is where I'm going to kind of dip into my notes here and really make I feel like I'm going to make a very bold statement right now. Everybody come together. exhale. We have to take this moment in together in a calm, serene state of mind. But I'm going to say right now that actually, I'm not going to make a statement. I'm going to ask a question. I want you, the viewers, to answer it for me. You can answer it here. You can answer it on Discord. You can answer it just on Chat OOC. For those of you who have been watching, specifically Eichenbahn and his characters over the years, is Koshoro Eichenbahn's best character? And I'm not talking in the sense of like one-off characters like Nath, where Nath is a very unique and fun idea and some really great stories, probably the best writing that Eichenbahn has done. And I'm not talking characters of, oh god, what's the crazy Heidian that was on Heidia? There is a character, I just don't remember the specific name of it, but I'm not talking a character like that had that great stargazing or a star traveling log where he was going to different planets. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about individual best forms of writing. I'm talking about full and complete characters. I'm going to say that Koshoro is Ike's best character. That is my statement. I'm sticking with it. Koshoro is the best version of every character that Ike has made, that he's made a serious character. He is the best version of Venser. He is the best version of Cade, bar none. He is the best version of Cyver. And I don't care really what the arguments are. He just is. Cade was always the warrior, but he never had a drive, never had a focus. He just was. He was this big, indomitable spirit that I don't really think Ike self connected with. He was just kind of writing him. And I fell in love with Cade. I think my love for Cade may have driven Ike to write Cade. Cyver was really good on page, and he had really good solo arcs. And he was like the perfect Shadowrunner, but I feel like Cyver was a little weak when it came to random encountering other people. He was very much in his mission, and if there wasn't a mission to him, for one. And like all the other characters, like Venser had the troubled past that Ko did, but I don't think he ever really got over that. He never could make connections. So when I say, is Koshoro his best character? Yeah, he is, because this is the character that a lot of other role players, a lot of other people are getting to know, befriending, and it's not forced, it's very natural. He is building relationships with people that you just didn't really see from Ike's other characters outside of other NPCs. So, Venser had Prince Bretween, and Cyver had Marith. Like that. Those were always the characters that Ike had written to be those companions. I even tried to make Sin that companion for Cyver Zero, I guess. And it never really worked out that way. So yeah, like this character is the full embodiment of struggling with his past, fighting for the future. A very heroic character. And I also feel that like right here in this moment, Ko has surpassed brother fully, and I don't remember his brother's name. Kaylin, possibly. I feel like it had a K with it somewhere. But for those that don't know, like it was literally years ago at the start of the Venom arc, he was the EDF operative, kind of found the Venom and reported it back to the EDF. Killed in action in that log, and it's a really great log. I reviewed it and I read it. It's just, again, it's been like 2.5 years, almost 3 now, and I just don't remember the details of it. But in Ko's mind, like his brother has always been the justice. He was the one that went the path of good, where Ko went the path of wrong, I guess, with the Yakuza. and he's always been trying to be like his brother, and I feel like now he has ascended beyond him. And yeah, he's fully surpassed him now. So yeah, I mean, I feel like Koshoro is just the best character that Ike has ever put on page. Like, it's a full and complete character. He is driven. His goals have always led him to the next step and to the next stage. And in preparations, I mean, he goes through and he really writes his last will and testament. He writes these letters to his they're NPCs, but to his friends and to his family. And you just don't, like, you as a role player and as a writer, don't do something like this if you don't really feel connected with it, right? Like, that is some deep emotional connection that you develop, and that you feel like, I feel like this character to Eichenbach is very real in his heart somewhere. This character is representing something very real to Ike. And he's putting it on page. And I felt like from where this log goes from there, I didn't want to take away from that moment. Especially, like, I'm going to read one of them. He writes to the Tiger Lilies. It has been my deepest honor. But one way or another, tomorrow I'll be leaving the sanctuary. I hope you all the best on your journey. Keep growing stronger. Watch out for each other. Don't forget all the good times. And then the other one to his father is like, Father, I love you. I know after everything that happened with the Yakuza that you wanted most for me was to stay in Sector 8 and to take over the restaurant. You wanted me to have a peaceful life. But you did name me Kosho, knowing it would be a spicy life. I'm about to do something dangerous, maybe even foolish. But I promise you, I prepared myself. I've done everything a man can to do. Be ready. I'm not going into this blind. I'll either get through it or I won't. Don't worry, I've had the best teachers on the planet. Talk soon, I hope. And that's a very real moment, right? Like, I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. But when I read this, I felt that everything that happens up until the point where Styx gets involved, that was its own log. That was the preparation. All this other stuff is just extra role play that happens with other people, but that's it. Especially he even talks about, like, saying human, if part of me really just wants to say, let's go in here and arrest this guy, do the thing that we came to do, and it's the safest possible way. Other part of me really wants to fight this guy. I really want to just tear into this dude and push myself to my limit. And that kind of dichotomy of Saiyan in me really just wants to go at it, but I'm not full knucklehead. A little hard-headed. I'm not full knucklehead. And he even says, like, even if this dude beats me, this is going to be a good fight. He is looking forward to this fight just a little bit. And, it could be a lot of different things. It could be that, it is his Saiyan heritage. Maybe somewhere in the back of his mind, he's even looking for revenge for Spinna. And I really do believe that he is. It may not be said on page, but that, again, when I, the reader, feel emotion that's not being emoted in front of me, that's how you know you have it. I would argue on Chat OOC, I think Coco went in here for revenge. A little bit. He may not have said it, but I think a little bit of him went in there for revenge. And, this would be one of those arguments that would go on for an hour and then die out, and then 3 months later somebody else will bring it back up. And, we do this stuff on DBI OOC all the time. So I feel like, yeah, this would be it. So good job on part 1. I really hope, like, that the depth that went into that that last will. I hope that it came from the heart and it wasn't just like a gimmick, right? It's hard for me to explain because it sounds like I'm like shitting on the idea. I'm not shitting on the idea. I just really hope that it was something that Ike was like, this is what the character would do, not I want to do this to make it seem like I'm more in touch with my character. I just felt I hope it was as organic as it comes off on page, because it was just great. I just thought this opening part was great, and I'm gonna talk about part 2. I'm just gonna see if there's gonna be a part 3, but the rest of the log gets a little weird, and it just takes a whole different path. So hoping that this part, gets its due. I'm not going to award them separately, but I just really wanted to talk about this separately. But I've been rambling on. Video's already 15, 16 minutes. My name is Riz. You are who you are. As always, thank you for your time, and I will see you on the chat channel.